Namaste. Let's say I'm driving my car at a speed of about 200 kilometers per hour. My body is almost like a part of the car when I'm in it. All the parts and organs in my body, as well as my blood, are traveling at the same speed as the car because we're all moving as one unit. However, the car has its own limitations, such as being restricted to roads and also being unable to fly, go over water, or enter certain countries. In addition, the car's performance is subject to maintenance and various system failures. Likewise, to function well requires certain conditions such as recommended temperature, lubrication, and tire pressure. In order to break free from the limitations of my body, I would have to step out of my car and move on my own. Now, substitute the car with your body, and you as the one driving the car with your true inner self that drives your body, of which your mind is your operating interface. Yourself is the master of your body. Before we continue, let us look into what is meant by the term self. The easiest way to get close to the truth would be that whatever you might probably think yourself to be, that it is not. It is certainly not your body, your mind, your emotions, or your ego. There is a simple experiment that anyone can perform to get an understanding and feel of the self. It is certainly not one of the widely marketed meditation techniques promoted by individuals claiming to be evolved souls, a term whose meaning continues to remain unclear to me. It was during a particular introspective session that I had myself many years ago, at the end of which I actually rediscovered myself, leading to a complete change in my whole psyche that led me into a better future. The session was based on an idea of mine, which is basically an extremely simple method. It helped me actually feel my true egoless self. What I first did was to stand erect, blindfolded, in a pitch dark room. I asked my friend to spin me around so that I lost all directional awareness. I remained completely still, not moving a limb or my neck. I then saw through my mind's eye, and I imagined I was flying in the air. Remaining completely still by not moving any body part, I tried to mentally perceive my body. I just could not do it, and realized that I would need to move my hands, legs, or neck in order to be able to even feel the existence of my body. I must say it was really bizarre. At that stage, I was in a near bodiless state of mind. I then started mentally looking for the source of the feeling of the I in me. I tried to find out from where my questions arose. I observed that it was impossible to pinpoint the location of myself. Once I established that the I in me does not exist in a particular place, and neither could I perceive nor sense my physical body, I followed Shloka 12 of the Shatashloki by Sri Adi Shankaracharya and began visualizing myself to be the mighty ocean. I began by visualizing myself as a wave in the ocean, as a massive wave, and I mentally flowed in the ocean. Shloka 12 of the Shatashloki by Sri Adi Shankaracharya, which I'm now going to say, started appearing easily relatable to me. Atmam bodhis tarangosmi mitigamane bhavayanna samastaha samvid sutranu vidho manirahamiti vasmindriyartha pratito drashtosmi atma valokaditi shayana vidho magna ananda sindho antarnishtho mumukshuhu sakhalu tanubhrutam yo nayetyeva mayuhu. That aspirant for liberation, who, when engaged in activities in the world, looks upon himself as a wave in the ocean that is Brahman. When just sitting, thinks of himself as a gem strung on the thread that is Brahman, like the pearls on the string in Shloka 7.7 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. When experiencing sense objects through the sense organs, sees all objects as Brahman or Atman alone, and when sleeping, considers himself as immersed in the ocean of bliss, that is Brahman, and spends his days in this manner, is the one who is established in the indwelling self that is none other than Brahman. Self-realization is not merely saying, but comprehending and experiencing the greatest truth, I am, or aham asmi, beyond which there is nothing. The existence of anything or whatever you can imagine needs to be certified by your awareness. And your awareness is the I in you, or rather your Atma. As Krishna says in Shloka 7.2 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Jnanam deham savijnanam idam vaksham yasheshataha yajñatvaneha bhuyon yajñatavyam avashishyate. Krishna says, I will now clearly explain to you this phenomenal knowledge and also its realization, after which there will be nothing further remaining to be known in the world. Shloka 7.3 Manushyanam sahastreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam vetti tattvataha. Out of thousands of men, hardly one tries to achieve perfection in self-realization. And among those trying so hard to do so, there is hardly one who achieves perfection in self-realization. And among those who do achieve self-realization, there is hardly one who truly knows me, says Krishna. It is noteworthy that although Christianity is a monolatrous theistic religion, a particular verse in the Old Testament gets a bit close to the idea of divine subjective awareness, although the entity who is speaking is portrayed as a personal God. It's the book of Exodus 3:14. So God replied to Moses, I am who I am. He also said, you will say to the Israelites that I am has sent me to you. It is strange that even a theistic monolatrous religion such as Christianity should use the concept of supreme subjective awareness for their Godhead. The human body has its own limitations, and therefore it is natural for people to think and believe that they cannot be all-pervading. Using the car and driver analogy, let's now compare the human body to the car I spoke about in the beginning of this presentation. Just as the limitations of my car apply to me as long as I am in it, the limitations of my body also apply to me, as in myself, as long as I perceive myself as my body and also believe that I am restricted to my body. When we analogize my body to my car, we could analogize me, who is driving the car, to myself, or Atma, which is the master and driver of my body. The self is pure subjective awareness. It is nothing but the pure I am with zero attributes. It is formless, and therefore it is not restricted to any specific area or space. That being the case, I, or myself, through my thoughts, can travel anywhere in the universe within a split second, can't I? I just have to think of the sun, which is about 150 million kilometers away from Earth, and I can be on the star mentally within a fraction of a second. Or I could also instantaneously be in the Andromeda galaxy, for example, which is about 2.5 million light years away from planet Earth. Why not? Particularly after we have, through logical deduction, arrived at the fact that the I in me is my consciousness and not my body, just like the driver of the car is not his car. The core study of the supreme part of Vedanta is that of the all-pervading eternal self. Vedanta is not the place for rites and rituals or personal deities and all those 330 million imaginary gods. The one who can see the self as the driver of the car, called their body, is fully prepared to receive much higher knowledge from the Upanishads. The chariot analogy has been used almost all over Vedantic scriptures, starting from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita to the Upanishads. In the Kathopanishad, Yamadharmaraja explains the chariot analogy to young Nachiketa. An extremely important truth to remember is that Brahman is always subjective and never objective. If you can objectify Brahman or give it a shape, then it is not Brahman. Shloka 1.4 of the Kenopanishad says, Yadvacha anya pyutitam yena vaga pyudyate tadeva brahmatvam viddi nedam yadidam upasate. Know that Brahman is that which cannot be expressed through speech, but through which speech itself is conveyed. It is that alone which should be recognized and not the objects of worship that people venerate here. Shloka 136 of the Vedantic Upanishad says that the closest description of Brahman could be neti neti, or not this, not this. It is because there is no other description for Brahman. And whatever description an individual could come up with would only stem from his or her imagination. Now, this is something very important for what I would call confused Krishna devotees. A lot of such confused Krishna devotees actually believe that Krishna is a person, like the guy portrayed in some films played by great thespians, of whom I'm certainly an admirer. They believe that he would have to be pleased through chanting, singing, dancing, and through rites and rituals so that he would be happy and bless them with wealth and happiness. Look, if you can objectify Krishna, then it is not Krishna. So says the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in Shloka 7.24. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mama buddhaya param bhavam ajananto mama vyayam anuttamam. Foolish people who do not know my formless, exalted, imperishable, and supreme nature think I assume a manifest human form. Krishna is the underlying principle of everything that exists and does not exist. Shloka 10.20. Ahamadva urakesha sarvabhuta shayastitaha ahamadischa madhyamcha bhutanamanta evacha. I am the self of Urakesha, or Arjuna, situated within all living entities. I am the origin, the middle, and also the end of all beings. Ask yourself, why do you need meaningless rites and rituals that are mostly conducted due to selfish interests? Whom are you trying to please or impress, and what for? Look at Arjuna. Did he pray to Krishna and ask him to miraculously win the war for him? No. At first, Arjuna almost gave up because he was overcome by emotions that fundamentally stemmed from his lack of atmajnana, or the knowledge of the self. However, in Shloka 2.7, Arjuna takes the most crucial step of surrendering to Krishna and seeking intellectual advice. Learning to understand the analogies in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is important and really useful. It is only knowledge and understanding that can lead to a fulfilling and useful life. Dhritarashtra, whose name literally means one holding on to his country, represents any common person who is blindly attached to his body. Arjuna, who is devoted, principled, straight as an arrow, and basically fearless, represents the inherent but usually clouded nature of seeking and learning in every individual. Arjuna humbly submitted himself before his teacher Krishna, who represents the intellect. Arjuna then learned to use his mind as his reins to control his horses, which were his senses, emotions, and all intelligence-numbing thoughts, and fought the battle of Mahabharata, which in turn analogizes the constant battle between opposing thoughts and dualities in the human mind. Take to studying Vedanta. Working towards reaching the highest goal of self-realization should be any true seeker's objective. Does the Srimad Bhagavad Gita ask individuals to shave their heads, dance on the streets, pour stolen animal milk on Krishna's vigrahas, hold contempt towards those who ask questions, or do not adhere to their hollow and self-centered customs and traditions? No. The scripture says that it is knowledge that the seeker should be going after. Never forget the superlative degree accorded to jnana or knowledge in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Shloka 438. Nahi jnanena sadrusham pavitram iha vidyate tatsvayam yoga samsiddhaha kalena atmani vindati. Krishna says, there is certainly nothing more purifying than knowledge. He who is perfect in yoga finds it in the self in due course of time. Will I die when my car dies and is sent to the junkyard? No, I won't. Similarly, will I die when my body dies? No, I won't, because I am pure consciousness. Myself is the same all-pervading Paramatma, which is the Paramartha Tattvam, Supreme Brahman or Krishna. Anyone who has attained this understanding can be completely free from the fear of death, and the one who does not fear death fears nothing and is forever blissful. True knowledge helps people grow out of their childish delusions of a personal god or gods and their fear of incurring the wrath of such personal gods for not going to the temple and performing pujas expecting divine favors, or for not fasting on Tuesdays or Saturdays. I offer you a short course which is an introduction to the Vedas and 10 principal Upanishads. Please visit this page and watch the videos. The URL is bit.ly/intro-vedanta. Can there be two skies? No, there can't. Similarly, there cannot be two selves or awarenesses, or your soul and my soul, because the self or awareness does not possess namarupa or a name and form. The non-dual, all-pervading self is Brahman. I am Atma Brahman. It is in Shloka 2 of the Mandukya Upanishad. Sarvakum hyetat brahmayam atma brahma soyam atma chatushpat. Prajnanam Brahman. Supreme consciousness is Brahman. It's in the Aitareya Upanishad 3.3. Tat-tvamasi. That you are. Chandogya Upanishad 6.8.7. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 1.4.10. Be aware that superstition and the lack of clarity in the mind fills your mind permanently with the fear of being watched and also being judged. Such a mental disposition can only lead a person far away from the supreme truth and could eventually cause them a painful exit from the planet whenever that happens. What is the worst thing that could happen to you? You will die someday, won't you? Would you like to live a life full of fear of some guy called God and go through a scary and miserable death of your body? Or would you like to exit as a hero who stood tall and faced it all? Have you watched my video titled The Two Truths of Life? Here is Shloka 2.5 of the Kenopanishad. Ihacheda vedidata satyamasti nachedi havedin mahadivinashti bhuteshu bhuteshu vichitya dhira pretyasma lokad amrta bhavanti. If he recognizes the divine within himself in this life here, then he is blessed. If not, he will face great loss. The wise who understand the divine presence in all beings transcend the world and attain immortality. Shun all superstition and irrational beliefs and take to Vedanta, which is your path to ultimate bliss. Start with the Srimad Bhagavad Gita and some principal Upanishads. Before I end this presentation, I would like to quote the second shloka from the 9th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is something for ignorant people who've been made to believe that the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is extremely complicated and cannot be learned without the help of some good guru. Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitra Midamuttamam Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartumavyayam. This is the royal science, the supremely holy and profound secret that can be experienced directly and comfortably. It is easy to practice and is everlasting. Note this, pratyakshavagama, meaning it can be perceived immediately, and susukham, meaning easily and comfortably. All that one would need to do before starting the study of Vedanta would be to clear their mind of unwanted, dogmatic and dualistic clutter, think more rationally, and be prepared for a complete shift in their fake paradigm of God that they have been fed with all the while. Thank you. May peace reign in your heart, mind and soul. Stay blessed. Jai Shri Krishna.